guys, what is going on? McMull2 here, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about the awesome Chimera capital ship and his star-crossed lover, Bistan's U-Wing. In fact, these two ships pair together so well, Shakespeare actually wrote a poem about them a long time ago. You may realize it's a really good classic of his. It goes two factions, both alike in dignity, and a galaxy far, far away where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where ship arena blood makes civil hands unclean. And let me tell you, that's just poetic. It's so beautiful. And I gotta tell you, these two ships, they may be on different factions, maybe on different sides of the Galactic Civil War, but they work together so well. So we'll go ahead and talk about why these two ships are so awesome. We'll talk about why the Chimera is so good. And yeah, we'll just go over what different ships you could use in here. But first, I'll show you guys what lineup I'm using in Fleet Arena, and then we will go from there. For my starting lineup, I have Vader's TIE Advance with both TIE Fighters, Bistan's U-Wing, and Biggs' X-Wing. This is a pretty good target lock team to start off with. Biggs can do a lot of taunts and protection regeneration. Then with my reinforcements, I have 5s in the first slot, followed by Scimitar with Maul, then Wedge's X-Wing in the third slot, and then Cassian's U-Wing in the fourth slot. You can actually put the Ghost into the third or fourth slot here because of the potency penalties that it hands out. That's really going to stack up with the tenacity bonuses that you get from Thrawn. So the Ghost can actually fit in pretty well with this team as well. This is not probably the ideal lineup that I'm using, but it's definitely something that's pretty flexible here, and having that 5s there as a first reinforcement is going to really help with those target locks. So we'll go over all of that. So let's go ahead and talk about what makes this team so good. And before we go any further, one thing I should point out here is that the name of Grand Admiral Thrawn's ship is the Chimera. That is the name of the Star Destroyer, not to be confused with the mythological Chimera. So don't start running around thinking that I'm thinking of Greek mythology here or anything. That's just the name of Thrawn's ship. And the nice thing here is Thrawn has several bonuses that he brings to this team. The first one is he gives all allies critical damage and also crit chance. He's really going to help him do a lot of hard hits. And those bonuses are doubled for Empire allies. So of course Vader and the Imperial TIE Fighter are both going to be dealing some pretty good damage there thanks to that bonus. And then of course with that stacking crit chance, that's also going to help because you have the crits on Biggs' basic. Anytime he lands a crit with that, he has a chance to target lock, and that of course means that he can taunt and he regenerates protection. So there's a lot of crit chance and crit damage synergies already with Thrawn here. And then of course you also have abilities where he can buff his entire team, debuff the entire opposing team with opposing buffs, like attackers on your team get offense up, the opposing attackers get offense down. And then there's also things like ability block and defense down that can get hit on the opposing team. So there's a lot of good buffs and debuffs that he can hand out at the same time. And then of course he also has a special ability where he can reduce the turn meter on the entire opposing team, also deals damage to them at the same time. He also has an ultimate move where he annihilates one opposing ship and then he deals damage to the rest of the ships on that team. But honestly, I never get far enough into these matches where I have to worry about that. So he's pretty good on offense. He can absolutely demolish other ships on offense. And that's what's so beautiful here, is that he's a legendary ship, and he definitely feels legendary compared to the other ships. He's still beatable on defense, just like every other ship is, but on offense, he is just something special with all the bonuses he brings in. But enough of that. Let's talk about why Bistan is so good in his team, and why he synergizes so well with Thrawn. And with Bistan's U-Wing, the first thing that pops up is a special ability where he inflicts a target lock on the enemy. The target lock cannot be resisted, it's going to happen. Also at the same time he enters stealth, he has a chance to gain turn meter, which is nice until you then factor in the special with Scarif Rebel Pathfinder. Whenever an enemy becomes target locked, another random ally gains 30% turn meter in advantage for 1 turn. This is huge because that turn meter boost on its own is pretty big, especially with speed. Everybody loves speed, but that advantage is big because it guarantees a critical hit from that ally. And then of course you have the crit damage bonus already from Chimera, so having that advantage is really going to max out your potential with landing those critical hits. So making sure you can get that on something like First Order TIE Fighter or even the regular Imperial TIE Fighter, both of those ships can deal a lot of damage. You'll see in the fights here that Imperial TIE Fighter hits special hits for well over 80,000. I almost landed upwards of 90,000 sometimes on the stray from First Order TIE Fighter. And then you also have the offense up from Chimera. So all those things are working together here with the advantage and Bistan's U-Wing. All these things are great. Also, whenever Bistan's U-Wing is stealth, its basic attack cannot be dodged. This is huge because that means you can then take out the dodge RNG with Imperial TIE Fighter that has a good 40% chance to dodge. There is a bug there that should be mentioned, that you can hit the Imperial TIE Fighter with Bistan's basic attack while it's stealth. It will hit the TIE Fighter, but at the same time it can also dodge, so it will take damage. It also dodge in the process and give bonus turn meter to the Imperial ship or whatever capital ship the player is running. So there is a bug there that does need to be fixed at some point. It has been creeping up lately because a lot of people have been using Bistan's U-Wing. So that is something that is probably, hopefully, on the radar for CG to fix at some point. But enough of that. So with Bistan's basic attack, you have that, and you also have the basic attack from Vader's TIE Fighter that also cannot be dodged or resisted, and that is also going to be another guaranteed hit on the TIE Fighter. So both those attacks can do pretty well there. And then with Biggs, getting advantage on him means he can land a critical hit on his basic. That means target locks for him. So whoever gets the advantage is going to really make good use of it, whether it's the TIE Fighters, Vader's TIE Advance, even Biggs. And Bistan, you don't really get much boost there from using advantage on his basic attack, but that is going to be just fine. It's going to be a guaranteed critical hit. And of course, if you attack a target locked enemy with his basic attack, it then inflicts tenacity down. So with all that together, you can really do a lot of damage under a Chimera flagship lead. This is going to be huge. This is why everybody's using Chimera now, because of the damage bonuses, and then of course with the Annihilate move that you may or may not be able to run. Now, with other ships you can use in this lineup, I mentioned earlier you have the Ghost you can use, because with Thrawn, anytime an enemy ship is defeated, all of your allied ships gain 5% tenacity. So this stacks up over the course of the fight, and if you have Ghost coming in some of your later reinforcements, that's going to be huge because the Ghost can reduce the potency on opposing ships. That is going to couple in with the increased tenacity on your ships. It's going to make it a lot harder for the opposing team to inflict debuffs on you, and then of course with Ghost in there, if an enemy fails to land a debuff, they get inflicted with speed down. So the increased tenacity through Thrawn's abilities and the decreased potency on the opposing team through Ghost makes for really good synergy there. There's a lot of interesting synergies going on here with Chimera and the Rebel ships. Also, Phantom 2 has an ability where it can inflict target lock on 2 opposing enemies, and then also can give all allies crit chance up. So of course with that, more crit damage coming out with Thrawn's special abilities. So all this together combines really well. He's quite a useful capital ship. He's really versatile. There's a lot of different ship combinations you can use. It's really interesting to see that one capital ship can really synergize with a large amount of the fleet. The buffs and the crit damage and crit chance bonuses that he hands out really allows him to be used with a lot of different ships. Like I mentioned, both the Phoenix ships, you have Biggs that also can do the increased target lock chances with his basic attack. So all those synergies really add up well. Of course, Wedge with his specials can deal a ton of damage to target locked enemies. So again, that crit damage bonus on him also means that you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. And of course, anytime a reinforcement ship is called in under a Chimera flagship lead, they gain crit chance up for 2 turns. So all this really stacks up together. You're making sure that you're maximizing your crit chance and crit damage under your ships. And that is why the Chimera does so well here, is because you're making sure you're getting all those critical hits and that crit damage, and you're getting a lot of buffs too. The offense up on the attacker ships really means for a lot of damage, like I already explained before. And with all these buffs and the maximizing damage you can use under a Chimera lead, that is why I think the Chimera is the meta ship to have for your capital ships in the fleet. There's not really a meta lineup per se, but it has been seen that Bistan's U-Wing is pretty much one of the best ships to use under a Chimera lead because of the target locks with the advantage and the bonus turn meter gains. Running a target lock fleet with Bistan's U-Wing under a Chimera lead is absolutely a monster. It is probably one of the best lamps you're going to find. So go ahead, start buying those shards for the Bistan's U-Wing. You can find them in the fleet store, so definitely start grinding them out there in the fleet store, making sure you get him up, because once you get him up to like 5 or 6 stars, he does plenty fine already. You don't need to get him to 7 stars to be really viable. I have my Bistan's U-Wing at 6 stars. My Chimera is at 7 stars. I managed to get my Ghost and Phantom up in time just before the Chimera event expired, so I was able to get a 7-star Chimera. But even at 5 or 6 stars, the Chimera is plenty viable in his fleet arena. So that is pretty much it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down below in the comment section. I'll do what I can to answer them. As always, guys, feel free to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel for more content in the future, and I will talk to you guys later.